And approves an application for a state grant of $265,909 to Metro government for Homeland Security preparedness activities. Can I have a motion?
We have other sponsors.
We have other sponsors here. There's a whole bunch of them, but thanks for asking. Is there any discussion? Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed? The bill is recommended. RS 2012-466, sponsor Matthews, accepts a donation of $361.42 from Charlie Tigert to Metro Public Works to cover costs associated with the Audrey Baker Memorial Bridge sign. Councilmember Tigert, would you like to say something?
Just move approval. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The bill is recommended. RS 2012-467, Wiener, Matthews, and Langster approves a state grant of $150,000 to the Metro Health Department to reduce the risk of adolescent diabetes through physical activity and exercise. And actually, this has been withdrawn at the request of the Health Department. Any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is withdrawn. RS 2012-468. Council members Wiener and Matthews approves a memorandum of understanding between the Metro Board of Health and Nashville Electric Service to provide a worksite POD for medical professionals to distribute antivirals in the event of a public health emergency. Can I have a motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The bill is recommended. RS 2012-469, sponsors Wiener and Matthews, approves a memorandum of understanding between Vanderbilt University Medical Center and the Metro Board of Health for the continued training of medical residents in the tuberculosis elimination program. Can I have a motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The bill is recommended. RS 2012-470, sponsors Wiener, Matthews, and Langster, approves an intergovernmental agreement among the federal government, the State Department of Health, and the Metro Board of Health regarding the administration of vaccines for underinsured children. Can I have a motion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The bill is recommended. Come on. And we got to there. And I'm going to pass this over to Councilmember Matthews. We're there, 471.
Thank you, Council Lady Berry. RS 2012-471, sponsors Council members Wiener and Matthews, approves an intergovernmental agreement between the State Department of Health and the Metro Board of Health regarding a state non-recurring vaccine appropriation. Move approval. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? RS 2012-473, sponsors Matthews, authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the claims of Mark White and Martha Stevens against the Metropolitan Government for a total of $13,400. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Tigert.
Just curious what a logbook error is. Logbook error.
Is there somebody from it was the disciplinary action that was taken against the employee involved. They discovered a logbook error after the accident. I guess it would be the Sheriff's Department would be who would.
What does that mean?
Councilman, in response to your question, it's a logbook error that he has to keep a log of where he's at, and that was not updated at the time of the accident, so he was disciplined in-house for that.
It was not updated for the incident, for the hour of where he was at, or it had not been updated for months and years?
No, it hadn't been updated in maybe the last hour or so that showed exactly where he was.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2012-474 authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Dwight Southerly against the Metropolitan Government for the amount of $35,000. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2012-475, sponsors Matthews, authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the lawsuit brought by the estate of Mavis Combs and Mrs. Combs' family against the Metropolitan Government for the amount of $67,618.80. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Resolution passes. We're now on to bills on second reading. The first one is BL 2012-281. Sponsors are Bennett, Harrison, and Matthews. Amends the Metro Code to transfer the administrative support for the Transportation Licensing Commission to the Department of Public Works. And there is a proposed amendment. Mr. Cooper, could you explain the amendment?
Yes, the amendment transfers the budget appropriation and the administration of the 4% funds for the Transportation Licensing Commission to the Department of Public Works as well. So it just goes along with the transfer of the hiring authority.
All right. Second. The amendment's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The amendment passes. We're back to the bill as amended. I have a motion. Do I have a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. The bill as amended. Councilman Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Has this idea been before the board and the board made a recommendation?
Which board? The
Transportation Licensing Board. Billy's a good little boy, and we'll get him to.
This particular matter has not been in front of the Transportation Licensing Commission. It was it was given to them back in the summer as a part of the RPM report that was done on behalf of the government. So they are aware of it, but they did not take official action on it one way or the other, but they're certainly aware of it.
I know you can't speak for them, then I guess my next question is, our Public Works Director is here. Is he acceptable? Is he?
He's going to come to the lecture.
I just thought we'd get it on the record.
Yes, sir, council member. We're very much in favor of this.
And the administration is aware of this and in favor of this as well. Thank you. I just thought we might ought to have a little chat and make sure everybody's on the same page. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Garrett. Councilman Stein?
Yeah, I just want to follow up. I don't know who knows and who doesn't, but it's a good idea regardless of who knows.
Thank you, Councilman Stein. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor of the bill as amended. All in favor? Thank you. All opposed? The bill passes as amended. BL 2012-282 amends the Metro Code pertaining to certified payroll record retention and public inspection requirements. And there is also a proposed amendment for this bill. Mr. Cooper, could you explain this amendment?
Yes, this amendment clarifies a few things that was requested by the purchasing agent. It clarifies that the one-year time period for retaining the records would be on a rolling basis. So it's 1 year from the date the record is made. It would be kept for a year. And then it clarifies that the purchasing agent can contract with any suitable organization or entity that can do the monitoring. Right now, the code specifies MDHA, and it's my understanding that MDHA doesn't actually perform those services.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Councilor Berry, you're a sponsor of this bill. Did you want to say anything? Okay. Any discussion on the amendment of the bill? Could I entertain a motion on the amendment? The amendment's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of the amendment? Aye. All opposed? And back to the bill as amended. Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilman Tiger.
Yeah, I need someone to explain the logistics of this. Does the contractor performing the work keep the records? Or, okay, so I'm a citizen and I want to know certain payroll information on construction of a library. So I go to the contractor?
You would go to the purchasing agent who would then get the information from the contractor.
Okay. Do we have any idea? I mean, is there a procedure to request this form, or can...
It would be made in the same manner as all other public records requests are made.
Is there any concern from the administration that we're creating too much bureaucracy? And I'm all for open records and wanting to know certain information, but I'm just worried that the same person could ask on every job that Metro's doing and bog the whole procedure down.
This requirement is already in the code and has been for a number of years. So they're doing it now. This just basically adds additional information that they would keep, specifically the addresses of employees.
So it's adding the addresses to the additional information now. No social security numbers I noticed in there.
Right.
Phone numbers available?
Phone numbers I don't think are
included in that. Okay.
Council Lady. Seeing no other buttons, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? The bill passes as amended. BL 2012-283, Councilmember Claiborne amends the Metro Code provisions pertaining to commercial solicitations. It's been properly moved. I'll entertain a second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Tiger.
I want to make sure I understand the sentence that commercial solicitation, no soliciting, no trespassing at the entrance to the residential property. That's not the individual properties. That could be at the entrance of a subdivision for the whole subdivision?
Yes and no. If it's posted at the entrance to the subdivision, then that would be no soliciting within the common areas of the subdivision. But it has to be on an individual basis.
Every house will have to have this sign on it?
No, or be on the list. If they electronically sign up for the no solicitation list, then no one can come to their house whether they have a sign or not.
What's the policy now? Because my subdivision has a no solicitations, and we've always used that at the front entranceway, and we've always used that as a hindrance for anyone, any vendor in the neighborhood, and have called, I don't know, codes or whoever administers this to enforce it.
It's my understanding that the police department has had difficulty trying to enforce something like that. When you're dealing with solicitations, you've got First Amendment issues, and so the fact that it may be posted on at the entrance of a subdivision does not mean that a person, because those are public streets, I mean, that does not prohibit a person from going door to door unless the homeowner does not want them there.
So if I ask either our legal director or one of his brighter assistants, is there not a method to have some type of sign at the front of the subdivision that would clarify that every home in this subdivision would be taken care of? That can't be done?
As I understand it, this was carefully looked at by both the law department with the help of the councilman and with Mr. Cooper's help as well. And there's a long-standing legal history of solicitation First Amendment, unfortunately. And so what we came up with was, First Amendment's a pain, right? And so what we came up with is really the best we could for what the Councilman Claiborne had brought this to our attention. So we feel like this is about the best we can do. So.
All right, and who maintains the no solicitation list?
Clerk.
Are there any costs involved with this?
No. Well, there are no costs involved with the no solicitation list other than, IT getting it set up. There are costs associated with the issuance of the solicitation permits, but that is borne by the permit holder.
But we don't if 50,000 citizens start emailing the clerk to get on this list, there's not a burden on the clerk's office to maintain this list?
Well, the clerk maintains the list, but you don't actually email to get on it. You would go online once it's set up and enter your information, and you're automatically added to it. So there would be no staff time involved.
And our internal service fees will not be cost prohibitive on the clerk's office for this new database?
Not that we know of. Again, it hasn't been set up yet, but in our initial discussion, it sounded like something that could be fairly easily done.
Well, I appreciate Councilman Claiborne bringing this, because this has been a problem in our neighborhood on out-of-town roof contractors after hailstorms and whatnot, and you just get a flood of these unknown people, most of which don't have active business tax licenses to do business in the county. So this may be another tool that we need to really publicize.
Thank you, Councilman Tiger. Councilman Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just didn't know if the sponsor would like to be recognized.
Thank you. Councilman Claiborne.
Thank you, Councilman Garrett. I was in the queue there. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to say, Charlie, we've looked at this considerably over the past 2 to 2.5 months. Chief Anderson's been in a discussion. Captain Hager, the legal director's bright assistant to his left, was deeply involved. Mr. Cooper and Ms. Escobar also. So all the players have been deeply involved, and all of us have had homework to do, research that's gone into this, and I think that this is the best option to deal with a situation that we can come up with. If there's any stone that's unturned, I won't say it's not there, but we've turned over all of them that we could find.
Thank you, Councilman Claiborne. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. BL 2012-284 amends the Metro Code to require the Department of Public Works to install speed cushions as part of the traffic management program if petitioned by a majority of the resident homeowners on the street. And this is sponsored by Councilmember Stanley. I'll entertain a motion. It's been properly moved and seconded, and see, Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, with all due respect to the sponsor, I think this bill is in its present form kind of opens up the floodgates all over Nashville. And reason so, we've had requests ever since I've been in this body and in this government, people wanting speed breaks. We've told them no. And in order to do that, and we got a lot of floodgates around here because there's a lot of people who want those things. And we approve this bill, then it's a step in the face before all those people who requested this thing before, and we turned it down. So therefore, I don't think it's in the best interest of this city to approve the bill at this time, until we look at how we can do it all over Nashville if we're going to do this, because I guarantee you if we do it for one, there's thousands of others out there want them too, because I've had quite a few requests already for these things. And unless we're prepared to do them all over Nashville, then we shouldn't do any of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Councilmember Garrett.
As before, Mr. Chairman, I just would like to see if the sponsor would like to respond to, there's been some unfavorable, I guess you could say, letters written by the administration concerning this bill, but I thought the sponsor might ought to be recognized.
Councilmember Stanley. Thank you, Councilmember Garrett.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I will say that, number one, this is a traffic management program. It's a program that's offered by a municipal department, Department of Public Works. So this letter from Rich Rieberling of the Department of Finance wanting an identification for the availability of funds. The funds would come from the annual budget of Public Works that puts money into other engineering processes used in this neighborhood traffic management program. So this has no bearing whatsoever on this legislation. Number two, as the former councilman mentioned, the fact that this could open up floodgates of speed cushions throughout all of Metro Nashville. That is ridiculous, because to begin with, these speed cushions would only be installed on the streets that have been accepted by the Department of Public Works in the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. What's more, they would have to be installed only if a majority, or 55%, of the resident homeowners of that street want those speed cushions installed. I'll let everyone know that in 2008, we obtained the Hickory Hill Lane was placed on the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program, otherwise called traffic calming. Public Works has done a number of different engineering issues on the Hickory Hill Lane. That's a half-mile street, but it is between Lebanon Pike, State Thoroughfares, Lebanon Pike, and Old Hickory Boulevard. And what's more, it's in close proximity to Wilson County. There are a large percentage of Wilson County residents that access Davidson County each day to work. These people do not want to come down State Thoroughfares and be stalled because of traffic signals. They want to find a quick shortcut to their destination as quick as possible. These engineering processes that the Public Works has already done, they have proven failures. They have not worked whatsoever. They have not reduced the speed of traffic. They have not reduced the number of the percentage of non-resident commuters accessing the street on a daily basis. So, if anything, these individuals that live on the street, their residential environment has been there's been a problem placed on their residential environment. It's caused danger to the resident citizens, and in July of this year, I had a meeting with Public Works and with the residents of Hickory Hill Lane. The residents of Hickory Hill Lane wanted speed cushions. But Public Works said, no, we can't do that. We will not do that. But I want everyone to understand that speed cushions are a tool that is listed on the government website of Metropolitan Nashville for this neighborhood traffic management program. The failure or the refusal to use these speed cushions is ridiculous. And I will say that the streets throughout Metropolitan Nashville, we are an urban county. We're only one of 4 urban counties in the state of Tennessee. We have over 600,000 people living in this city. And the streets are very variable. They are unique. Now, I was under the impression, I've had discussions with engineers over at Public Works. They said that a couple of years ago, they had an issue, or was a Green Hills neighborhood had an issue with speed cushions, the installation of speed cushions, when Public Works placed those speed cushions on the street. I think that this street is totally different from that Hillwood neighborhood street. I think it's important that Public Works, if we're going to have a traffic calming program, a neighborhood traffic management program, it needs to have some teeth to it, because we are the centerpiece of this entire metropolitan statistical area. Now, I will let everyone know on one last time that I'm going to speak. The fact is, in 2006, 2007, Austin, Texas, which uses speed cushions in its traffic calming program, it did a study on issues associated with emergency response times. It was shown that speed cushions are narrow and emergency response vehicles can straddle the speed cushions. Emergency response times were not found to be altered in any way, any adverse way. Now, if Public Works wants to work with the community, let them work with me and with the resident citizens who want these speed cushions. Do not make decisions behind closed doors. I'm asking that you as a council, that we support this ordinance, because we as a council represent the people of this city. And because the people of this city, there are diverse streets throughout the neighborhood traffic management program throughout. And I think it's important that there are some streets that do not want these speed cushions. I understand that. But there are streets in this neighborhood traffic management program that do want it. So with that, I ask for approval at this time.
Thank you, Councilmember Stanley. Councilor Moore.
Just a quick question. I was wondering if someone was here from Public Works. I don't know if they left just to clarify this traffic management program, and is there, I don't know whether the sponsor has talked with Public Works to see if this is a possibility or what. Oh, okay.
Hello, Council. My name is Mark Macy. I'm with the Department of Public Works. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this issue. We are asking that the ordinance be disapproved. Our primary reason is we feel that as traffic engineers that the decision to place things in the road should bear the responsibility of a traffic engineer and not a vote of the neighborhood. And that's because as engineers we have a right, an obligation to protect everybody, not only the neighborhood residents, but also the people driving the cars. And so by passing this ordinance, it will place the installation of devices in the road in the hands of neighborhoods, which we don't think is the right direction to head. I will take some responsibility for not talking to the councilman more exactly on Hickory Hills Drive and why we don't believe it's a good idea to put speed cushions on this road. But basically, most of this road is a hill, and the engineers do not recommend placing devices which could basically put a car in the air on a hill, and it's really not a safe place for a speed cushion to be placed on a hill. So we will be glad to work with the councilman in the neighborhood on any other way we can do to help slow down cars or change the way people think about speeding or trying to get more enforcement to slow down cars. But as far as this ordinance, we would ask that you disapprove. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Councilor Moore. You're welcome, Councilor Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and Mr. Macy as well.
All right. Councilman Garrett.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to, every time I have something like this, and then out of respect to the council member, the sponsor of this, I have to go back to my roots as a district council member. So I would tell those district council members, 55% wouldn't come anywhere close to, as far as I'm concerned, if I had a road that involved in this. It would be, unless 75 or 80% of the people on the road wanted it, I wouldn't even consider it. So I'm going to vote no on that just to start with. And this bill, while I understand the council members got one or two particular roads that this deals with, this is all over the county, correct, John? That if it was 55%, it'd be any road in the county.
Only those roads that have been accepted in the traffic calming program.
That have been accepted in all those, that's roads all. So I will be voting no, and as because here again, as an old district council member, I just wouldn't want to 55% of the people on the road to determine what happened on it.
Thank you, Councilman Garrett. Council Lady Berry.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to also let the sponsor know that I really appreciate what he's trying to do with the idea of traffic calming, but I too am going to have to vote no on this, and that has more to do with the fact that the finance director cannot certify that there are funds available. I think we have to be very careful about taxpayer dollars, and I think that we just need to make sure that we are mindful of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Berry. Seeing no other council members in queue, I'd like to call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? You gonna count the hands? Or?
Okay. 0, 4, 10 against.
0, 4, 10 against. Thank you, Mr. Macy. BL 2012-285, sponsors Council Lady Moore, Gilmore, and others, approves an agreement between the State Department of Transportation and the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for the lease of property to be used as a Greenway Trail. Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. Bill 2012-286, Council members Claiborne, Gilmore, and Matthews, approves a renewal of the lease agreement between the U.S. Army and the Board of Parks and Recreation for 8.62 acres of property for continued use as a park facility known as Lock 2 Park. It's been properly moved. Seconded. Councilman Tiger.
Just curious, once the Lockmaster's house is renovated, what will be the use of that facility?
Is there anyone from Parks?
Councilman, it's primarily just been open space for the entire time of its the lease that we had before.
But there's mention of renovating a structure.
There is a structure in there.
What will be the purpose of that structure? Why are we renovating it, and what will it be used for in the future?
Well, it has some historic value to be kept from deteriorating in a worse fashion, and that's in essence what we'll be doing.
Councilman Tiger. Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. BL 2012-287, Council members Gilmore, Weiner, and Matthews, approves a lease agreement between the State Department of Transportation and the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for property located along the Harpeth River in Bellevue, and approves a sublease of the property to the Harpeth Youth Soccer Association. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Bill passes. And BL 2012-288, sponsors Matthews and Gilmore, authorizes the construction and maintenance of wetland mitigation projects in Bells Bend Park and authorizes the execution and filing of notice of land use restrictions regarding the projects. Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Bill passes, and we are adjourned. Thank you.